All right, everyone, welcome back into another Fantasy Golf video. Going to be breaking down round 4 here of the Players Championship. We're going to be giving you guys all the best bets, head-to-head bets, prop bets, and three-way bets as well. We're going to be getting to the Showdown picks as well, but I do want to start with a potential live bet that you guys can go ahead and make. But before we do that, we are going to talk about the weather. So looking at the weather, guys, probably going to be about the same as what it was today on Saturday. So with that, we can kind of expect the tournament to be playing difficult in round 4, and especially with a round 4 setup. It actually probably is going to play a little bit more difficult in round 4 as a whole, except for the fact that some of the tee times have been moved up and they are going to be going in 3s instead of going out in 2s. And I guess instead of three-way bets, we're going to be doing 3-ball bets because they're going off in 3s. So with that, the weather might not play as big of a factor in terms of PM or AM, advantages, AM or PM advantages, which is a good thing, I would say. It's going to make it at least a little bit more predictable. Now, I do want to talk about some potential live bets that we can get to win, really just one that I think is at a good number. Okay, so first and foremost, like JJ Spawn's at -12. We know that. You look at Bud Colley, he's at -11 as well. Let's go ahead and just take a quick peek at what the data is going to tell us are their win ranks and showdown picks. So for round 4, we'll click on that. And let's just take a peek at win rank. Does the 9-to-5 data think that they're going to win? Yes, for JJ Spawn. No, for Bud Colley. It could actually be Rory. Alex Smalley, who's a really good staff fit this week, really not surprising him doing this. And then Patrick Cantlay as well. So we got some names there that I think are interesting. Seb Straka is someone that could go low as well. If we look at the showdown rank, it's going to correlate decently well with that, but we are going to see Rory, JJ Spawn, Patrick Cantlay, Seb Straka. So naturally speaking, probably Patrick Cantlay, Seb Straka, or Rory are going to be the 3 live bets that we could potentially get into, right? Just kind of looking at it that way. And so when we look at the leaderboard here, obviously JJ Spawn is at -12. Okay. And then you look at Bud Colley at -11. The thought here is that those two are going to have to come back to the field. And so if you're targeting someone like Patrick Cantlay, who's at -7, then he just needs to make up 2 strokes from there, given the fact that probably speaking, you look at JJ Spawn, not a terrible play. Like, he would have been a quote-unquote shoulder short play. If you played him, I have a decent amount of him. You just naturally ended up on him maybe because of a lineup optimizer, which is why I ended up on him, not in hand builds, but kind of just a shoulder short play. If you ended up on that range, you would have been fine clicking him. And just for what it's worth, freaking Bud Colley and also Ryan Gerard having these good weeks is super tilting from last week, because if one of those two show up, if Ryan Gerard makes the cut, it's a freaking massive week last week instead of just a solid week, which is... That's been the theme. It's a little bit annoying there, but let's jump into some live bets. And so we're sorting it right now by the live odds that we are getting. So JJ Spawn at average 2-1, Bud Colley 5-1. I don't know. Like, if you can't produce good results on the weekend at the Puerto Rico Open, how are you going to do at the Players Championship in this wind as well? It's like the Puerto Rico Open massively amplified. So I'm struggling with that with Bud Colley. I wouldn't bet that. I could see someone jumping on JJ Spawn, especially if they are someone that bet on Rory to win already. And so just naturally looking at Rory as well, 6.5-1 for Rory. I know he hasn't clutched up in the 4th round, and personally, I'm not really expecting it, but still, to get that, that's not terrible. Okay, if you are someone that does live bets, that's not terrible. And then Alex Smalley as well. If you look at it, he's one of the best staff. He's the best staff at among the top end golfers right now. Okay, so again, his performance is not too shocking. Now he's going to be able to clutch up. Tough to say. Like, he is, again, the best staff hit. You can get him at 12-1 on most books, 14-1 on BetMGM. Somewhat interesting, but the player I want to get to, I think the most, just given the lines that we're getting on, is going to be Patrick Cantlay. You get him at 22-1. Okay, 22-1. The thing with it is Patrick Cantlay, among the golfers that are left, is the best bad weather player, both long-term and also short-term. Rory, you could argue as well, with the long-term form a little bit more in bad weather, but Patrick Cantlay as a whole is the best one there. And we already saw that he's one of the better showdown plays. So if you're looking for a live bet, I do think you can get to Rory, but Patrick Cantlay would be the one I think I would try to get to first, just because it's a good number for him. 22-1 feels like a pretty good line. All right, so now we're going to get into the 3-ball bets here for round 4, guys, and we're really not getting that many great edges for round 4. We are getting some. We'll touch on those, but real quickly, shout out to Cameron Young for his great round. How in the heck can you not beat someone in Carson Young who shot plus freaking 6? That was tilting. That was tilted. Now we did hit our head-to-head bet. We're fine there. But gosh darn it, Cameron Young. That was annoying. And I'm not someone that typically bets on Cameron Young. I know there's people on X that like are just, I don't think they actually bet on Cameron Young, but they like to drive a bit of betting on Cameron Young. Well, I finally got in on that action and it was tilting. Because, man, it seemed like the whole round he was going to win it. And, wow, he blew it on 18. Let's put it that way. Anyways, jumping into the edges that we have here, we'll sort it by a positive edge here, guys. And, again, we're just looking at those, and it's already sorted by the best bets. And what didn't you know? I didn't even mean to do that. Carson Young popping up as the best 3-ball bet. I'm going to stay away from that, honestly, just because he is one of the worst bad weather players that are left right now. So I'm not actually going to bet that. And then we have JJ Spawn potentially over Lucas Glover, Bud Cauley. So that's kind of an interesting way to maybe get some action in on JJ Spawn instead. I would probably agree. Yeah, again, I don't expect Bud Cauley to continue to play well. Kind of expect that to dip a little bit there. We do have Billy Horschel against Matt Kuchar and Willie Z. I could see getting there as well. I think I'm fine with that. And I'm mad. I'm kicking myself a little bit, guys, because Matt Kuchar over Joel Damon was the best 3-way bet on the board yesterday. And I kind of gave it to you guys, but I didn't officially give it to you guys, so kind of annoyed there. But from there, Bo Hosler beating Shane Lowry and Hayden Springer. That's not a bad bet. Shane Lowry is going to be the favorite to win in that group, but per Vegas odds, they're not giving him the correct odds for the likelihood for him to win, so I'm fine with that. Denny McCarthy over Daniel Berger is an interesting one. Denny McCarthy played pretty solid in round 3. I could see that continuing there for him. And so I'm probably, I don't want to load up on all these, but besides Carson Young, which I'm going to pass up on, I think I like these 4. You know, I do think there's a good chance they go 50%. Okay, obviously, if we do that with the 3-ball bets, we're going to be sitting pretty good. Now, it is worth calling out these other ones. Jake Knapp, Ming-Woo Lee. Ming-Woo Lee obviously exploded today. That's terrible for him. But Jake Knapp's an interesting one, going against Ryan Gerard, who, again, super tilted by him. JT Poston. Actually, let's toss this one in there as well. Okay, the 9-5 data really gives him a good edge to win this. And let's actually take a peek at this group further. Okay, so JT Poston's a slight favorite per the 9-5 data, but look at the odds that we're getting. Yeah, I really like that one there as well. So we're going to toss that one in there as well, guys. 9-5 data has much more of a toss-up, whereas the Vegas data does not. And Jake Knapp's been someone that's been playing well, so I'm fine with that one there as well. So let's go ahead now and jump on into some matchup bets here. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the best matchup bets. And yes, yesterday we did go 1 for 1 with the matchup bets. Very good there. So after going 0 for 2, we've went 3 for 3 and then 1 for 1. Also already hit 2 out of 3 tournament bets. We got Tommy Fleetwood plus 135 against Colin Morikawa. That's a tight one as well. So continuing the good success that we've had head-to-head thus far this year, hitting 70% of the bets, 71 if we're being more accurate. And I like to say that because maybe slight caution in the simple fact that we've been crushing it and we're due to that shouldn't be sustainable. It really shouldn't. Okay, guys, 70% hit rate is not something that should be sustainable. So I just want to make that clear, but we are getting some decent bets, and I want to show you guys a slight update that I made to the page here. What you're going to notice is if you click on this and you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see the breakdown of the data. So you can see the line that we're getting here. So both of them are minus 110. We look at the Vegas odds here. So Vegas odds, both about, obviously 52%. If you take the juice out of that, we could correct that a little bit. But the 9-5 data actually likes Alex Smalley a decent amount more than Billy Horschel. And so we're getting about a 4.7% edge there. So not a bad spot there for him. We can continue on. Davis Thompson over C. Tagala as well. Not a bad one there. And again, we scroll down. So Vegas actually does like Davis Thompson more. Okay, so obviously we're going to see he has about a 55% edge, which does somewhat match the data, but not a bad spot to get to there as well. And then another one that, I kind of like a decent amount as well, Charlie Hoffman to lose to Seb Straka. Okay, so we're getting a slight edge here. So minus 110 for Sam Ryder, minus 115 for Charlie Hoffman. And guys, in the comment section below, just let me know if you guys like this update. I can do more like this. I think it is a little bit more simple, a little bit more straightforward. And if someone's watching on their phone, really it probably helps a little bit more. I know about 50% of the audience does that. So that's kind of why I made that. But yeah, looking at Seb Straka, or Sam Ryder has a decently good chance to beat Charlie Hoffman. We're getting better bets in round 4 than we were getting in round 3 here, guys. And then Ryan Gerard over Joe Highsmith as well, I'd be fine with. Again, just kind of looking at it, just minus 110, that seems like the wrong line. And Joe Highsmith being minus 120, it seems like the long line. I'm sure that's because of like Joe Highsmith winning and, you know, having a good round 4. It's probably the biggest difference there. And so again, it's not a big edge, but it's big enough. And so I don't mind that. So these 4 right here, guys, are really the 4 I'm fine rolling with right now. So lots of good spots there. Let's go ahead and jump into the prop bets now. And so as always, guys, I do want to start off with looking at the prop line differences because that's where we're going to begin our biggest edges. And I want to start with this bet here on PrizePicks and Underdog. So Corey Connors at 72.5 strokes. I think there's a good chance that he gets the over here. Corey Connors is someone that went off in round 3. We always talk about regression here. And so him going off and shooting -6 is obviously not a round that is likely to happen again. And chances are we're probably going to expect him to do the opposite. I wouldn't be surprised to see him shoot +1. Now, if you're hearing me say that and think that's dumb, obviously take advantage of the PrizePicks line and bet is under there. That's why I'm calling it out here for you guys. A player that was extremely disappointing, probably the most disappointing. I mean, there's still the Max Gracerman double bogey on 18, that the water ball on 18. To me, that's the most disappointing because that cost me the most amount of money. But Colin Morikawa, guys, having that round +5, I think he ended up today, just completely terrible because had he just shot even par, to me, he'd probably be the one that's most likely to win. Definitely let a tournament get away from him there, and a really disappointing round. I don't really want to. He is someone that you would expect to play better, though, in this round, obviously. Missed some short putts and really just never got anything going, just bad vibes the whole time. I just don't want to touch him, though, coming in off of that disappointing round. I think that could actually linger with him. I doubt it. I do expect him to play better, but for the most part, let's just stay away from that. Any other ones as well, like Keegan Bradley as well. I don't expect him to play well as well, especially if we're expecting the course set up to play more difficult as well. Could bet him over par. And then so like Corey Connors and Keegan Bradley for over par, scoring over par. I'm pretty comfortable betting on those 2 over bets on Underdog. Okay, so that would actually be the bet of the day there. I know I'm on the PrizePicks screen though, so let's go ahead and jump into kind of just the edge. And so this is interesting. All the lines are at 3 birdies, okay? And so all these birdies, I don't mind. I actually think 3 is probably the correct line. The issue with all these is that, one, you can't place them all together on a slip together because if you do, that payout will be significantly reduced. I talk about this all the time. That's why I like betting on betr, because the payout is not going to be as reduced, okay, for golf prop bets. Now, betr comes out with them typically later, so I can't call this out to you guys. But I don't mind the idea of pairing these together. So like Alex Smalley, Justin Lauer together, Alex Smalley, Bud Cauley together. Like chances are they will get to 3 birdies. Just how likely is it for them to get to 4 birdies? That's the difficult part there, okay? So I don't want to go too crazy with those, but I'm fine with those. And we are getting some under birdie or better matchups. So like Justin Thomas, under birdie or better matchup against Davis Thompson. Sahith Theegala, under birdie or better matchup against Chandler Phillips. Seb Straka, under birdies, not touching Carson Young. F you, Carson Young. I'm not happy with you. Shane Lowry under against Will Chandler as well. That's not bad as well. So a lot of decent bets here, honestly. So it really just depends on the weather. Again, they are playing a little bit earlier in the day, but we are expecting a tougher Sunday setup. So it could end up playing a little bit more difficult, actually. But maybe the weather allows it to play easier. So interesting spots, I will say. All right, guys. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the round 4 showdown build that we have here. And so as always, I'm just going to adjust 2 projections there just to get the lineup optimizer to function. We have to do that. And so from there, I'm just going to click generate. Now, it is worth calling out, guys, that over the past month here, taking down a showdown. Yesterday, I ended up last week I ended up 3rd in a showdown. And then I also had one showdown in which I didn't cash like a single lineup. It was a terrible day. And then one in which ended up being a push. And so a push is obviously where you might not necessarily lose money or win money. It might be like a little bit here and there. Nothing big, nothing to write home about. And so it has been mixed results, but that's kind of what you want on a round 4. You want when it hits to really hit. And when it misses, it does suck when it misses, but I would rather have that upside there baked in there, and obviously that's shown here recently. And that does coincide actually with an update that I literally made a month ago, a slight update that I made to round 4 projections, which is obviously paid off. And I know some people in the 905 Discord had called that out as well with some success. And so with that, guys, showing you guys the top builds here, and it certainly is interesting, and I think it does match up with what I was just telling you guys. So Rory, Cantlay, Spawn, Glover, Pendrith, interesting, and then Bud Cauley. Now, if you don't want to get to Bud Cauley, let's see how much he's getting us. 90%. What's the one lineup in which we don't have Bud Cauley? All right. It's here. Lucas Glover, Pendrith. Sorry. Lucas Glover, Spawn, Connors, Cantlay, and Seb Straka. I don't mind that. Okay, but the issue that we have here is we don't need to go that in on golfers. I might get to, like, let's say Patrick Cantlay a little bit more, but typically, guys, I'm just doing this. 3 unique players, 30% max exposure. And honestly, what I'm probably going to do here is for someone like Patrick Cantlay, who I do think could have a good day, let's just bump him up to 35, and Rory as well, maybe like 32. So if we're doing 150 lineups, we're going to get to them a little bit more, but let's just show you guys still generating 20, kind of what that would look like a little bit more in terms of exposure. So we're getting a 40% Cantlay, so it's rounding up, and same thing with Rory, rounding up a little bit. We're still seeing that top build in there, but then from there, like, we're getting a little bit of Seb Straka, Patrick Cantlay, Corey Connors, Alex Smalley, JJ Spawn, Lucas Glover. So still there. Maybe you do think one of JJ Spawn or Lucas Glover are going to blow up. You could set in a potential rule as well. I'm not saying you have to do this, but if you want to be on the climbers, as I like to call them, you could be like, when a lineup includes Lucas Glover, I want exactly 0 of JJ Spawn. You could do that. I'm not saying you need to, but that's something you could put into the build. And then they're not going to be together. So the bet is one of those two doesn't go off. You're still going to get enough exposure to both of them, but one of those two is not going to go off. Now, I'm probably not going to do that, but I did want to call that out as an option because I don't think it's a bad idea. Now, guys, that's going to do it for this video, but I do want to remind you guys of the 9 to 5 membership, so you can sign up to get access to all the fantasy golf tools as well as all the prop tools as well that are available on the website. So get access to the PrizePicks and Underdog cheat sheets. All the tools are available for just $10 a month, guys. It's the best value out there. I priced it that way for you guys. Also, if you guys are looking to place some bets on betr, they do offer daily discounts with golf as well. Their odds typically come out a little bit later for golf, but there's good stacking opportunities there. If you guys are looking to sign up for Underdog, use the promo code 925. That's a simple and easy way to help out the channel. That does not go unnoticed when people do that. I do appreciate that. That's how I'm able to keep reinvesting into the channel because of your guys' support. You could also do that for PrizePicks as well. Use the promo code 9TO5 as well. It helps out a lot. All right, thank you guys for watching. Let's have another good head-to-head day, and let's hope we have a spike day in our 3-ball bets. That's all, guys. Good luck, and as always, let's keep cashing.